No, I did not stop. Oh God. Great. I'm talking. Can you guys hear me or no?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I
Oh
couldn't before.
jeez. All right. Okay. All right. You guys can see the screen and you guys can hear me. Yeah?
Yep, good.
Yes.
Okay.
Good.
Perfect. Okay. So again, as I was saying, this is a charting workshop that I don't have any agenda other than I like to go over my charts and show you guys how I do it, and hopefully you guys can learn something from it. And if you guys have any requests or any charts that you guys wanted me to go over, we can go over it together, right? So this is basically the point of this, and the goal of this workshop that we do each week is to help members become more familiar and to have an opportunity to ask me questions if you guys are working on your charting skills. Um, and I usually start with the SPY, the S&P 500, the spider. So there's the reason why we're doing this because we always watch the SPY, and the SPY holds the top, basically the top tech. So we have number one is the Apple, Microsoft, Facebook, Amazon, and Google, right? And then the last five would be Google B, Tesla, Johnson and Johnson, Goldman Sachs, Berkshire Hathaway. That's actually not in order, but you get the point. So, and also if you guys also have noticed that when the SPY was down, just like last week or 2 weeks ago, we did see a lot of people selling off, right? So this is a good indication of how healthy your stock market is, and that's why I like to chart it. So, um, a couple of things that we've learned so far, right? So if the SPY is selling off, highly likely other stocks, the blue chips, are also selling off. And it also had taught us that even though if you think you have found the bottom, if the SPY is still going down, you're probably most likely catching a falling knife. So that's why it is important to know that, if you found the bottom but the SPY is fine, then yeah, maybe you have found the bottom, right? But if the SPY is still going down and your stock is still going down, then highly likely still trying to find the bottom. So I would like to get started with this, and I am going to erase everything that you guys see here. This is my analysis. Actually, I'm gonna take a screenshot of this because I have a thesis here just in case. And just in case I forget some of the indicators. Okay, so I'm going to turn off all of the indicators that is on right now, and I always tell people that if you are going to analyze something, please start with um, a clean chart. Because now, as you can see, I'm getting rid of all the lines, and you can probably like, oh, what happened, right? Like, so one skill for technical analysis is being able to recognize patterns and lines and recognitions, right? So these are very important. So if you are given a chart and it looks like this, so I would highly likely recommend that. Oh, I did post something here. Wow. Okay, so I am using TradingView. I use TradingView and TrendSpider. I like TradingView because it gives me more flexibility to do my own analysis. Once I have my own analysis and understand the big picture, I go into TrendSpider. TrendSpider is can automate charting, so which makes it faster. So I mean, I don't go to TrendSpider yet because for a simple reason. Like, give me 1 second. Sorry, man. Sorry about that. Someone knocked on my door. I'm here at the office. Okay. So let me know if I'm going too fast. Let me know if you have any questions. Okay. So the reason why I am not using the TrendSpider, I'm going to show you why. Maybe I just don't know how to use it yet. If I draw something here, I don't know how to delete it. So every time I draw something, I just get frustrated. But it's very good for automating, right? Automating charts, which is make it faster. I do like its other features. So I just want to also say that we do have access for that as VIP members. We have workstation for trend spiders. So what I do for SPY or any chart, I erase everything and get rid of anything that you know from other people so you're not biased. And then I start with the week. Okay, so first question I like to ask myself is that is the trend going up or is the trend going down? And as you guys could probably tell that the trend is upwards. And then the next question I'm going to ask is there any lines, trend lines or anything that I can identify in the weekly chart? So again, weekly chart, just a reminder, each of these candles represent a week. 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, right? So these are all long term. So we could probably tell, but just like looking at the chart, okay, this week the SPY overall is negative. This is a green day, I mean green week, green week, green week, red week, you know. So the last, if you guys still fresh in your memories, the last 2 weeks is red and red. And this week we're so far we having a green day. Okay, so where do I find the most activity? And if I do, can I draw a line? Okay, so um horizontal line, if you go on trading view, you click on here and then you say horizontal line. And then I would say, okay, I think there's a lot of activity here. Okay. And then I think there is a lot of activity right here. That was the previous resistance. And that was a nice breakout right here. Okay. So I don't know the numbers yet. I'm just drawing lines where the activities are. Right. So then where else can I put this line? I think here, right? Because this was again once a resistance and a breakout, became a support, and then a strong support. Okay, so I'm happy there. And then uh, maybe here, that's a nice resistance right here. Because see, it got rejected. It tried to break it 1, 2, 3, 4, and then went down. And now we are looking into testing it. So maybe right there. Okay. Now, once I have my lines, you can add more later. It's not definite. I think there's one here. Yeah, that one's nice too. And then, hmm, where's that one? Is it here? Okay. Maybe this one? Okay. Okay. So it's a little bit, so it could be busy, right? So maybe what I do once I do this is I go and change the settings and I'll say coordinates, and I usually round it up to the whole numbers, so 340, because that just cleans things up. And also, institution they don't really buy like 358. They usually buy 360, right? Whole numbers, and then this is someone say 400. So that's actually a very important resistance and a mental marker too. So this is about 425. Okay, right there. Then, oops. So again, control, I'm using a Mac, just go to settings, change your coordinates. So this is 450, settings 475. Maybe that's a little bit too high, but maybe just do that. Okay, I think I have more than one here. So is everyone okay so far? Did that make sense? Where I got those lines?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So now that I have those lines, I would, so now you're not confused. On your line is on your chart. Let's look at the daily. This is weekly, so let's look at the daily. So let's see if the big picture happens in the daily, right? Okay, so far you'll see more action. You see that that's a breakout. Analyze it, analyze the lines that you guys drew. Okay. Oh, that is right there. It happened, I guess this is within the week. You try to test it, breakout. Okay. Support, try to reach that, breakout, trying to break out, trying to break out, breakout. So, within a week, as this example, it tried to break it like twice or three times, right? So now you're getting more information. Okay, so now you're more confident with your trend line. So that's how you become confident with your trend line. The reason why we draw a trend line is that's because that's where we get our support. Support is, as a review, it's the one at the bottom. It's the floor. So if the stock keeps going down, all of a sudden it stopped going down because there seems to be something is holding it up. So that is a support. So here is a good support right here. That is a good support right here, right? It tried to go down, but it didn't. People picked it up. Try to go down, it didn't. It can't break it, right? Likewise with the resistance. So this was the previous resistance. You have your support, and then look what happened here. Breakout. Once it's breakout, then you're establishing a new all-time high. So let's focus on currently what's going on here. That was the first all-time high, got rejected, attempt, big time rejection, and then now we are trying to retest this. Okay, so now we understand those ones, and now I like to do another set of trend lines because it's so it like if you look at because I look at a lot of charts, but here you could easily see that here that is like that's a crazy like resistance right there, right? Like it looks like it's an uptrend, but it looks like there's is almost like a wall. So I like to draw a line there. So a horizontal trend line is true. See, I can even extend it all the way here in the back. It's so strong. A horizontal trend, or a trend line, a true trend line is a yes if it hits your line at least three times. A resistance trend line, I usually do red because as you guys could see, every time the asset hits that resistance, it gets rejected or it just lingers around. Let me make my screen bigger. Okay. See that rejection. So here, so it's even if it's just lingering around the line, right? So rejection, rejection. Okay, so now that you have resistance, I want to know if I have something here at the bottom as a support, right? Right there. And I usually change this into a green because once you get to the support, you want to buy it, right? Because there's more demand. There's not a lot of supply. And it's a very good support too. So you can see here, I can even extend it all the way here. So the more lines it hit, the more confident you are with your trend line. See here, boom, resistance, support, resistance, support, resistance, support. So most traders, like experienced traders, even institutions, they would sell not at the trend lines, right? They sell before because they want guaranteed. They don't want to risk it, right? It's just us retailers who wanted more, but I'm I'm still practicing that, but like most traders will be like, okay, they know that this is the resistance that they will sell here, right? Because as you guys could see, as it gets closer to the resistance, watch the candles. They're not as strong. There's indecision. There's doji candles here. There's a lot of wick. The more wicks that you get, the more indecisiveness. So I want to point out here, we had a really healthy support here. All of a sudden, you see this really strong candle. That's not a wick candle. Before that, people were deciding whether or not they're going to bail or not, right? Because they know they're almost at the support. So People are like, okay, well, what happened here? It had a breakdown. So this was in October. It was horrible. Remember that breakdown? So here, it dropped here. So when something like this happens, you turn on your moving averages, right? Because once it breaks, you can turn on your moving average. But for me, I like to operate with with as less indicators as possible. And then once it makes sense to me, I'm going to see, okay, what happened here? Why did the traders push this below, right? Because usually it gets picked up. So I go, where's my 50 moving average? Ooh, look at that. If you guys want to learn more about moving averages, I have a workshop. I have a class that I did a couple of months ago, and it's posted in our education room. And I also did that last night. I believe Emily was watching that. So what happened here is that the SPY broke the 50 moving average, and I want to know where the 100 is. Okay, 50 broke it, and then all of a sudden people just sold, and that the SPY even touched the 100 moving average. So usually that is a support, a good support, and traders picked it up, and now your resistance is the 50 moving average. You see that right there. Got rejected, and then this is actually, I wasn't expecting this, but it broke. It went below the 100, and then it bounced right back, bounced, and then here it broke. This was the breakout, right? The 50. And then this is when the SPY is still not in the bull trend. So this is the bull trend, that channel, the channel right here. It came out of that channel. And once here was a big battle, this line right here. And once that's done, you see that it rallied and printed a new all-time high. So you guys are probably familiar what happened here because I already was giving a chart workshop at this by them. So here it dropped again because it's the resistance. Then got picked up, and then it didn't quite make it to a new all-time high, but also you guys have a horizontal line here that could act as a resistance. I know there's a lot of, because you don't know what the traders are looking at, right? So that's why it's very important that you guys know your lines. And then here, this was just last week. We have the coronavirus and all that stuff. So the SPY went below this channel. So, and then not too long ago, 2 weeks ago, no, a week ago, it touched the 50 and almost touched the 100 as a support. The minute it touched this one, people bought. See, jump up to 50, and now we are here. These are big jumps, and today is like, it's a consolidation, I believe, but it's still pretty healthy. So, in order for the SPY to become bullish again, it needs to come up here in this channel. So it needs to be 472. So then you ask yourself, right? I am almost back in the channel. I have three like favorable bullish candle. So I am going to expect traders selling at 471, right? You can expect that because that could happen or it could break. If this breaks, then you're potentially looking at another all-time high. Wow, of the 482s. That's crazy. But in order for you to do that, you need to get over this triangle right here and this horizontal line, right? So because it's not just gonna go straight. There's gonna be some up and down, but it's gonna follow, I believe, it's gonna follow this mini trend line that I just drew. 1, 2, 3. You see that? So it's probably gonna go up here, up here, down here, down here, down here, down here. If it doesn't, it will get rejected here, and you will expect it to come down here, most likely at the 50 moving average. So that is your support. Okay. So let's look at the candle. So how do you guys feel about the SPY? Like what's the, I want to look at, so now that I know the days, I want to know what happened today, right? So I do 4 hours first. 4 hours, the first candle in the 4 hours, the first 4 hours when it opens until lunchtime. The next candle is lunchtime towards closing. And you guys probably remember today that today, this morning, it was very difficult for the SPY. It's having a hard time. And then towards the other half of the day, buyers picked it up. So this is a nice doji candle with a lot of buyers, indecisiveness, and then buyers came in to pick it up. So this is when I add my volume and I say, oh, okay, majority of the first half of the session, people are selling off. And why? Why people selling off? Well, we're almost closing to the resistance. People doesn't know if it's gonna get rejected or it's gonna break out. Then the next half of the session, it looks like buyers came in and pick it up. So that's the first two. And now I want to see. I'm gonna go in now and see what happened. Okay, so here, big jump right here. This is every 2 hours. Okay, so that's pretty good. I want to see every 15 minutes. Okay, so it's not as volatile actually. It kind of maintains its own thing. When I say volatile in the 15-minute, this is what I mean. A jump up, jump down, gap up, gap down, gap up, gap down, gap up, gap down. This was last Friday, I believe, when you just don't know what the hell's going on with SPY, right? We were all trying to figure out where it's going, but that's what's going on. It's this is volatility. Now, today, we had this gap up and it maintained it. There's a nice consolidation. This price action is consolidating. Okay. So once I know that idea, I go into Transpider and I say SPY, and then I set it up, get rid of the Bollinger Band. Okay, so it looks like this was a hard level, this heat map that is provided by this platform, Transpider. At this level, 460, 469, that was where it's trading in range, right? And then it looks like it got out of that range. So I am more confident now, and also it's above the VWAP and it's above this ribbon, so it is pretty confident. So I'm pretty confident with this. So I go back here and be like, okay, let's go back to the daily. So most likely maybe tomorrow, maybe it will test 471. Didn't you do that? Is it already did 470, so maybe it will go to 471 and we'll see from there if it acts. So this is the daily. They had a nice, okay, so yeah, the daily, this is also very active. So it just got out there. It looks like there's a lot of buyers. So most likely this will test 471, 473 tomorrow. Like I don't, and then I look at the previous activity. Like maybe there'll be a red day, but I thought today was more of a consolidation day. So because this was the price of SPY yesterday, right? It just went down and then went back up to it. So it's pretty much consolidating today, but ended up green. Do you guys have any questions? Does that make sense? I use very little indicators. You guys can use more. Other indicators that I use once I have all these lines, I do the Bollinger Bands. That's pretty good actually. Look at that Bollinger Band. So now I'm like, oh, okay. So now the Bollinger Bands pretty much support my thesis that it will go and test this because it is above the middle of the Bollinger. Middle of the Bollinger is the 20 moving day average of 2% deviation. So think about it, it's a normalized curve where every price action is consolidating. So So 476. It will break 471 and then the target is 476, which is our resistance right there. 475, 476. So this is where you guys can make sense of your own analysis. I'm like excited. I look at the charts all the time, but I get happy when I analyze it again. So, any questions on this one? Did that make sense? I don't even know if you guys are there. Yeah, there's 6 people.
Yeah, I'm here. I played Spy today and even called it in the Discord, and then I got scared out. So that was just a little frustrating.
Okay. Yeah. So, is that Emily or Gabriella?
Yeah, it's Emily.
Hi,
Yeah, the
Emily.
newbie. Hi.
Hi.
Yeah.
Welcome.
So I got scared out when it wouldn't push through 469.
Hmm.
And I mean, I only lost $5 because I took a loss this morning. So I just got scared. And then I saw it run. So, like, it's good to see that. But it's also,
It's
disappointing that
okay.
you missed. I know. I like Bull Run said, like, I'm here to trade tomorrow. So it's all good.
Yes. It's fine. I mean, I do it all the time. Like
Hmm.
today, I did it for Roku because it was so shaky that I had to call out for members because, members, I can't let the members loose. So it's just so
Yes,
shaky for
definitely.
Roku. So I'm like, it's up to people if they want to keep it. Like I kept mine, but for me, 20% of loss, that's not right for members to hold.
Hmm.
Because they don't know how to manage the risk yet. But that's one way, cutting your loss right away, right?
Yes.
So that's one thing, right? So this is why I use the Transpider because I do like their features because I know we talked about this. Like here is the chart. That it's trying to test the preview. It's trying to break the resistance, right? But also this also gives you an idea of like what is my risk reward, right? Like if I wouldn't gotten here, then I would have gotten more money. But here, how much more am I gonna make? Like you are at 469 and then the resistance is 471. Or is it going to go all the way up to 475? Then that's a lot more reward, right? If you're not trading the SPY, if you're trading something else like Amazon is completely attached to SPY. So Google, Amazon, Facebook. Apple seems to have its own mind. So I think the SPY strength is coming from Apple because Apple is the number one for S&P because Apple is doing so well that I think it's pulling up the SPY.
Do you see a pullback in Apple at all, or do you think it's just going to keep running with all of its exciting stuff going on in new highs?
Hello? Hello? I'm back. Okay. What was that? Okay. Jeez. Okay. What happened? What was the last time? Okay. Did you guys lose me for a while or no?
Yeah, we lost you for a little while.
Oh, damn. I was talking to Emily.
Yeah,
Emily,
you.
did you lose me? Was that the last
Yeah,
time?
I did lose you a little bit, and then I
Okay.
asked something, but you were probably not on there, and then I felt dumb. So,
Oh no, I'm sorry. I was
no, it's
talking. I was
okay.
like blah blah blah. Okay. Um. Okay. So basically, I think we were talking about the SPY, and then I started talking about the risk and reward. So if you guys already know that, SPY needs to break 471, and we saw that if I put the Bollinger Band, that it could potentially, once it breaks 471, that we could potentially go to 476, the previous high. Like, what is your risk reward? Because you're already at 469, right? Like, what is that? Like 5 points? That's pretty big in SPY, but yeah. So think about all these things. And then, or, like prepare, like what's going to happen when it hits the top of the Bollinger, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like what's going to
Yes.
happen when it hits the resistance? Are you going to be surprised that things are selling off? Or that that is the resistance, right? In the past, we've seen that. Like 2 weeks ago, it hit the resistance. It might not happen that same day, but traders are looking at the same chart as you're looking at. Traders are here to make money, and so are we, right? Traders are not going to risk it, especially algos. Like a big part of my trading journey is to actually realize that I am trading against the market makers, the algorithm, who has no emotions, who only recognize candles and resistance, right? Who's not hoping, but is programmed to take money. So think about all these things, right? When you're
Mm.
like, oh, these are, we heard the first line of AAPI. I think it's your Wi Fi. I don't know. I think it's just messed up. I'm here at work, so probably my security. So those are the things to consider. So that's why I always have the SPY. And you always have a lot of people in our group are actually very good now with charting the SPY, right? So they know the resistance, they know the levels. Like you don't want to wait. You don't want to like most algos sell before it hits resistance. You guys could see here. And then don't be surprised if there's going to be a sell off. So basically that's from what we've been doing in our charting, right? Every time we have here there's a sell off and all that stuff. Is there any huh? Is it frozen? Jeez. How about now?
You there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you guys
Okay.
hear?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay,
You're
sorry
still
about
here.
that.
It's all good.
Now black. Okay. How about now?
Yep, we can still
Hello.
hear you.
Okay, thank you. How about the screen?
It's just sorry. It's just the squares.
Yeah.
Now? How about now?
We hear you, no screen.
No
Just
screen.
the squares.
Okay. hmm I see 5 people. What about now?
Can hear you. Don't know the screen though.
Dang it. Okay, now, no. Set up a new one. How about that? Hold on. Stop screaming. But do you guys have any questions so far? While I'm trying to get this back.
Well, I was just wondering. You said that Apple was pulling this pie up
Yeah.
right now because it's just rocking it out. Do you see a pullback in Apple, or do you think it's just going to keep running because it is so strong right now?
Actually, we did. Okay, let me show that.
Or did it fall off this afternoon when I wasn't watching?
Actually, don't know. Let's go check. All
Because I
right.
used to play Apple a bunch, like in the spring when I didn't know what I was doing, of course. And I made a little bit, but it was very interesting to watch how, with um, such a high market cap and so many shares, how much it can actually move.
Oh, because they split so much.
I know it's crazy.
So that's why it can move that it's I know, right? I had it
It's just
before the 8th and the 5th and the second split. When the first released the iPhone 1, I bought that.
wow.
Yeah. It's my first stock in the United States of America.
That's
I'm
awesome. Good
Canadian,
choice.
so it's like I had no money to buy the iPhone, but I have money to buy the stock. I'm like, I'm buying the
That
stock.
works.
Okay, do you guys see my screen?
Still squares.
Okay.
There it
How about
is.
now? Oh, okay. So it took some time. Okay, guys. All right. I see flow in Walmart. Wow. Okay. Actually, what we had here, I actually did this one, and then I said that 175 is the target. So it is at 175 now.
Hmm.
And I mean, it's a target, and I usually go and look. I'm like, okay, there's probably some sell off. People are probably going to sell, but because we have a flow, we're monitoring it, right? So we have a better idea because it's this is just technicals. If they decided that they're gonna do something crazy or release a good news, then it's it can break out, right? So 175. Let me go change this one to 175. That was actually my target.
Nice.
I on my Twitter. So okay, I posted on Twitter. That was a target. There is some selling that happened. I didn't even know it hit 175, but okay. Yeah, there is some selling a little bit right here. So let's look at what happened intraday. Oh, it is so strong. Okay, Peter, are you trying to call me? We lost your voice. Okay. All right. Holy crap, look at that. All right. So 175 seems to be a really important level for Apple. Okay. So it's looking like it's fighting it. So now the question is what happens if it breaks down? And what happens if it breaks out, right? Because there's only two things that's going to happen. It's going to go up, it's going to go down. Okay. So first, look at your RSI. Your RSI is pretty strong, which is corresponding to your momentum, and that is also agreeing with your Bollinger Bands. We're at the top of the Bollinger Band. If something happens to Apple, if it breaks down, I have a line here. I guess that's from the previous one that I drew. So it's looking like, oh, if it has a pullback, then it's probably going to pull back. I want to say 170 first. If it breaks 170, it's going to go to 165. Okay. So if it doesn't make to 175, it looks like it's going to go back down to 165, which is this line. If it doesn't make it to 165, then it's going to go to the middle of the Bollinger, which is 160. Now, what if it breaks out? If it breaks out, if it breaks out, I am looking at, let me get rid of moving average, moving average. Huh. Okay. Okay. So Apple, I turn on the moving average 9 day moving average. So 9 days, 9 trading days, right? So that's good for 2 weeks. And as you guys could see, it is following the 9 moving day average. It's staying above it. If it goes down and that's a good support, then it's just following it. Now it's way above the 9 day moving average. So I cannot really draw a line. What I can do is I can draw a scallop. So yeah, that's not the line that I want. So Tesla did this when they had a multi-week breakout for Tesla. Okay. So where it's gonna go, it's gonna follow this green line until it becomes like that, until it breaks it. So right now it's following it. Then it will stop. If it will get off that trend line if the candles start coming out of that scallop. So 175, we look at here 165, 175, right? So that's a 10-point range. So probably our next target will be 185. It's just really high, but again, that's what it is. Just doing the math. I don't know. I am not, there's no fundamentals, there's no emotion here. I'm just adding numbers and connecting dots. I don't know what they have in store, but that's what I'm saying. Let's look at go here. Bam, bam, bam. By December 10. Wow. That's like in 2 days. I don't think so, but okay. But yeah, that is what's going to happen. If it breaks out 175, the target's 185. If it breaks down, you're looking at 165. Yes, to tell you. Updated sheet is in VIP negative. Yeah, we are seeing 185, 175 flow for Apple. It's so strong today. You guys have any other questions? Did that make sense? You can do a straight line or this scalloped line. And if you guys also want to know, this is when you guys can also do your fibs, right? So fib is from here to there, wick to wick. That's just to like understand if there's any correlation. Okay, so that is, I'm gonna fix it right here. Okay, 175. And that's your support at 166. So 165 will be your support if it doesn't make it to 175. And then the next up is 161. And we all know 161 was a very important number because it's like hang out here. So yeah. Did that make sense? That
Yeah, thank you.
cool. Any other questions? Okay. All right. Thank you guys for coming. I hope you guys learned something from today. Later. Yes. I'm gonna stop my screen sharing, stop streaming.